Ooh. Don't know if anybody's watching. I know I'm doing this at a weird time. I know it's not technically Halloween yet for an hour and a half here, but we'll see. Probably should have waited and done this tomorrow. Wait and see. I thought about doing it tomorrow, but probably going to be busy with trick-or-treaters and whatnot. So this will run into Halloween technically, because it's only an hour and a half away. So how's everybody doing? I'm gonna try to do these more regularly, once a week. I might set a schedule. Maybe try to make maybe on Friday. Maybe do it every Friday. 'Cause that seems to be the best time. I seem to get the most viewership when I do this on Fridays. Let me know in the comments. Anybody. What are your thoughts? Would you guys watch if I did this every Friday? I'm strongly considering it, scheduling it just every Friday at like 8 or something, maybe 9. Or I could do it later or earlier, whatever. My schedule is flexible. Let me know what you guys think. Anybody, changing subject, anybody read any good horror books for this month? I only read one. I only read one, The Vanishing. I've been on a fantasy kick. Actually, I haven't actually read. I've been taking a little bit of a reading break. I haven't read anything in like week and a half, actually 2 weeks. I don't think I haven't read anything in 2 weeks, which for me is that's a long break for me. I usually don't go more than, I pretty much read a book every week, but I took a little bit of a break this week, these past couple weeks. So trying to figure out what I want to start. I think I'm gonna finish. I'm reading through the Legend of Dritz books right now, and I'm on a trilogy in the middle of like the Paths of Darkness trilogy. I think I might finish that first before I start something else. Um, I got the Blade itself, and I've heard that's very good. I don't think I want to start anything real heavy. Like I kind of want to finish. I've got that Dritz trilogy. I think I'm gonna finish that first. And then I'm going to might finish. Um, there's something else I was in the middle of. There's another trilogy I was in the middle of. I started reading the Shannara books, and I like the first one, even though it's basically like a Lord of the Rings ripoff, but it's enjoyable. I don't know if anybody on here has read those. Terry Brooks, he wrote a Star Wars book. He wrote one Star Wars book. He wrote the Phantom Menace novelization. If anybody's talking, I'm not seeing it. I don't know if there's any comments. I'm not muted, am I? Shouldn't be. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not seeing the comments if you guys are talking. Oh, okay. Oh, we got somebody here. I think you've been on here before, Mike. Mike Lozano. Your name sounds familiar. Thanks for the uploads. I missed the old legend Star Wars and I've enjoyed your work. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Glad to be of service. That was my goal with this. Actually, way back when I originally started this channel, I wanted to do Star Wars stuff. And then I found Matt Wilkins, and he was kind of already doing what I thought about doing. So I just let him kind of do his thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to think how I can add to, the old school expanded universe. and I found it. Audiobooks. So, um, but yeah, Mike Lozano, I'm glad you like it. I do other things. I have other things other than Star Wars. I know that's the main draw of my channel, Star Wars, and I'm I'm absolutely fine with that. But if there's anything else, Mike, that you are interested in, let me know. Kind of slow. I know it's a Wednesday. This is like probably not the best time to do a stream, but I might do one tomorrow still. I might do one early, like early in the day tomorrow. I have no idea. I moved. So I'm in the area I'm in now. I have no idea if I'm gonna get trick-or-treaters or not. And I thought about doing it tomorrow night, but like if I'm getting trick-or-treaters and I don't want to have to like run back and forth, but I guess I could stream the trick-or-treaters, but I figure that's probably not a good idea. I know most parents aren't gonna want their kids to like be on some random guy's YouTube channel, so better not do that. And I didn't want to have to be like running back and forth and like annoying you guys. Yeah. So anyway, um, yeah, I don't know. What have you guys been reading? What have you guys been up to? I've just been like crazy busy with work and just like um I had to get my car fixed. I had to do a bunch of stuff. So I hope I'm not cutting out. I swear every time I stream, my internet seems to cut out. Anyway, I've just been busy. I have been playing. I did just finish the Silent Hill 2 remake. And it was pretty good. It was pretty good. The original is better. I prefer the original. I don't know if I'm ever gonna replay it, the remake. I might. Um, but I the original is one of my favorite games of all time. Definitely horror. I mean, it's in my top, definitely in my top like three horror games. It's up there with probably the original Resident Evil and um, I do like Dead Space a lot, but um, I don't know. The last couple times the last time I played it, it didn't grab me. Like I kind of like slower paced games more now the older I'm getting. I still like it. I still like Dead Space, but I don't know. The older I'm getting, I'm liking slower paced stuff like Resident Evil, like survival horror that's a little bit more like, slower pace. It's not just like constant like shooting and like, you know, monsters jumping in your face and stuff. Same thing with horror movies. I'm not. I do still like the occasional like, you know, you know, jump scare, but for the most part, I'm kind of getting more. I guess I'm getting old. I'm old, so I kind of like slower paced stuff. I was always like when I was younger, I always had to. I was never like honestly, I was never really huge into horror movies when I was a kid. I think I've talked about that. When I was a kid, I was never like into Friday the 13th or, Freddy or any of that stuff or Saw or I was never really into any of that stuff as a kid. Um and I do like it now more than I did as I didn't watch any horror stuff when I was a kid at all. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. If there's anybody else that wants to talk or ask questions or whatever, feel free. Mike's the only person that's talked. I know it's Wednesday night. I know this is kind of a weird time, but 10:30 on a Wednesday. But um, so um, yeah. I mean, I got Shudder. I usually get Shudder. It's a horror streaming service. Um, I usually buy that for a month in October. And we watched the other night. I watched a movie called Hush. It was pretty good. It was a newer like my fiance is like huge into slashers. She loves slashers, so anything with slashers, whatever slasher killer guys she likes. So I kind of geared her towards that because it's some like I don't know. I get a little bored. I like slashers, but I get a little bored of them when it's just like generic like teenagers. Like the Friday the 13th thing, it's just like it's kind of played out. So there has to be a twist to it. Then this one, it was actually an author who was deaf, and she like she basically has to outsmart this guy who breaks into her house, and like it's pretty cool actually. It was pretty clever. Like I kind of saw some of the things coming. Like they telegraph a few things that I kind of knew. Not to spoil it, but there's a few things that they telegraphed that I was expecting. But for the most part, it was good. I recommend it if you see. I think it's on other things. I think it's on. It jumps around. It was on Tubi. It's kind of a low budget movie. So if you're interested in horror slasher, or just like it really is barely a horror movie. It's kind of more of like a honestly more of like a thriller kind of movie. I recommend it. The Republic Commando series. Going to bed now, but glad I got the chance to tell you personally. Thanks and happy Halloween. Of course. Same to you. Yeah, I'm listening to. Oh, you're okay. You're listening to Republic Commando. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad. Enjoy. Anybody else on here? I know there's other people on here. I know Mike's not the only person. I'm just talking because I don't nobody's asking me any questions or anything, so I'm just rambling about what I've been doing the past couple weeks or so. Um, I watched that. Um, I watched an older horror movie last night that was just so called Funhouse. That was made by the guy that did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Which I have not seen. I just know it's the director of that. It was just so. Um, I don't know. It was just a lot. It was just a lot of like um I would call it just lots of teenagers screaming and just I don't know. I guess I'm getting old because like just teenagers being hunted down and does not thrill me anymore. So I don't know. It was just kind of stereotypical like teenagers being hunted down, and so there was that. Um, and then a week ago I watched a movie called An Evening with the Devil, I think, which I recommend that. Man, I know I'm doing this late, but geez. I was talking about horror movies. I just thought I would talk about something Halloween related because it's an hour and a half away here, less than that. But we can talk Star Wars. We can talk something else. I don't care. Um. Anyway, I think it was called An Evening with the Devil. It was pretty good. It's pretty good. Shudder's movies are hit or miss. It was a Shudder original, I think. And their movies can be hit or miss. Like it's like Netflix, how Netflix used to be. But it was good. I recommend it. So no, I guess I won't. So for at least a couple people to talk to, not trying to, I don't know, anybody, if anybody wants to say anything or anything you specifically you want to talk about. Um, yeah, I don't know. I've been I've been a little bit of a reading slump. Like I don't know. I finished I kind of get that way sometimes when I finish a real long book. And I just finished Sword of Shannara. That's like a 700 like 50 page book. And it just kind of like and it wasn't like it was a hard book or anything. It was really easy to read, but like, I don't know, when I finish a real long, big epic book, it just like kills my momentum for reading for like a week. So I just have not, and well, I had the Silent Hill 2 remake. I've been playing that. So I kind of just got into that and I was just kind of like, eh, I don't know. I'll finish the Druids trilogy that I'm reading. So, well, anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'll just start showing off some things. I can actually. This is the one I'm on right now. Spy in the World, and I know this is considered, I think, like the worst Dritz book, and Dritz isn't even in it. I don't think Dritz is even in it because that's why I think by most Dritz fans this is like considered the worst book. But actually, the premise of it really intrigued me because it's actually like from what I gather, it's actual just like it's actual character development. Like is I love the Dritz books. Don't get me wrong. Like I love R.A. Salvatore, but his characterizations are not the best. He's much better at writing action scenes, and he's good at writing Dritz. Like he can write Dritz very well. He can write very stoic. He's good at writing very stoic characters, but like nuanced characters, not so much. And I've heard this is actually pretty nuanced. Like this is Wolfgar, like basically like at rock bottom, like rebuilding himself. So it intrigued me a lot. So we don't have to talk about this, but I like Ari Salvatore a lot. And his first book, actually, that I ever read by him was Vector Prime. First and only book I ever read by Ari Salvatore for the longest time. And I kind of like vaguely remember when I read it as a kid, I'm like, it said in the back of it, like the well-known author of the Dritz books. I'm like, who's Dritz? I didn't know what the hell that was. I didn't know anything about I didn't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons until like 10 years ago. Like I never read any books or played any games, ever played the game, ever played I just never, it was always something that was like, I'm happy it's popular. Honestly, I'm really happy that Dungeons and Dragons is really popular now. Because it was always something that I was always kind of like, it was almost like the forbidden fruit for me. So I just never had like, I guess I never had a reason to like to read to like do anything Dungeons and Dragons related. So I think actually how I found um Dritz was I was looking for like just fantasy novels in general, like just like the best. I just looked up lists of like top 10 like fantasy characters or something. I think that might have been in like top 10 fantasy characters in fiction, and Dritz is up there. Like he's generally considered one of the better, like one of the best like fantasy characters. Like you can say what you want about you know Forgotten Realms or whatever, but even outside of like Dungeons and Dragons and Forgotten Realms, he's a pretty well regarded character. I mean, he's definitely one of the most iconic. He's iconic. Like you can say, I say that about a lot of things. Like say what you will about, you know, I don't know, like even something stupid. Like feel free to jump in, people. I know there's at least 4 people watching this, so feel free to jump in. But um, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, like even like kid stuff. Like even like Batman characters. Like just off the top of my head, like the Riddler. Like yeah, no, he's like used to be. Like, just a silly guy that wore a question mark, wore a question mark hat, a question mark cane, but it's iconic. Say what you will about it being a silly like kid character, like character for kids, but that's all changed though. Like comic book stuff is taken way more seriously now than even when I was a kid. Like I remember when I was a kid, like comic books were not taken seriously at all, and that's a world that's like that's something that I know. And if there's any younger people on here, like I've talked to different like tons of different Gen Z people, and it's like it doesn't even compute with them. Where they're just like, what? Like that can't be true. It's like, oh yeah, like comic book stuff was not taken seriously. Fantasy, same thing with fantasy. Same thing with fantasy. Like fantasy was not taken seriously. Like you had Lord of the Rings, which was semi respected, but like in general, fantasy was not taken seriously. Like even when I was a kid, I do not. Lord of the Rings changed that. Like the Lord of the Rings movies, the Peter Jackson ones changed that. That I remember when those came out. That started. That was the beginning of when that kind of started changing. Like it was all. That was all. It was started take. It started was blah blah blah. I can't get out. Fantasy started being taken more seriously, after those Peter Jackson movies. I remember. I distinctly remember that because I mean, just think about it. Like that came out, and then you had not too long after that. You had Game of Thrones. It wasn't much longer. I mean, because what? Return of the King was 04, 05, and then Game of Thrones was like 5 years later. So I mean, it wasn't long after that. So anyway, feel free to jump in, people. If anybody else wants to talk, I don't mean to ramble here. Nobody's talking, so I'm just I'm talking here. I'm just gonna keep rambling unless somebody asks something. Um, but yeah, no, um, but I didn't read a lot of fantasy as a kid. I really didn't. I was more of a sci-fi guy, and I've talked about this on this channel before. I know Star Wars is like a hybrid. It's kind of a you get the best of both worlds. I still argue that Star Wars is fantasy. Like it's fantasy with a sci-fi coat of paint to me. Because it's, I mean, come on, like it's sword lightsabers, it's swords and force powers. The force is just wizard. It's just magic. It's wizards. Because I've talked about that with a few people, and like people argue with me. And it's like really, like it's fantasy, guys. Like it's fantasy with with sci-fi elements. Like I mean, don't get me wrong. Like it definitely has sci-fi, very strong sci-fi elements in it. But it's fantasy. It's space wizards with laser swords. Like I'm not trying to demystify it, but that's what it is. It's fantasy. It's fantasy with with heavy sci-fi elements in it. So I guess I was always a fantasy fan. So anyway, if somebody can talk, somebody can ask questions. I mean, unless I'm having a problem here, it's not showing up on my end. Here, I don't know. I'm gonna go to the channel here and see if maybe I'm not getting it on my end. Let me see here, just to make sure here. No, no, okay, all right. But yeah, anybody wants to chime in here with doesn't it be fantasy? We can talk about something else. We can talk about something totally different. I love sci-fi. I mean, honestly, sci-fi and fantasy are like neck and neck for me. I like tons of things. I like hard sci-fi. I like sci-fi fantasy. I like sci-fi thrillers. I'll read thrillers. I'll read just plain thrillers sometimes. Not as much as I used to, but I'll read thrillers. I'll read techno thrillers, like Tom Clancy and Michael Crichton. I'll read anything. I mean, I'm a bookworm. I've always been a bookworm. I'll read if as long as the premise grabs me, I'll read pretty much anything. To be honest. So, what have you guys been reading or listening to? I know most people on here, obviously there are more listeners, but it's whatever. Doesn't matter. That's you know, it's all reading to me, just different forms. So, um, I don't know. I thought about dressing up. I might do like I thought about doing like a little skit or something tomorrow, like just dressing up and doing a little skit. I need to do that at some point. I got enough like cachet on here. I probably should. I almost did it. I almost did it last year. Last year was just man, it was so chaotic for me. This year kind of was too. This year and last year have been very chaotic for me. So I know I've kind of hinted at it like on my Patreon and a little bit on here. Not so much on here, but man, I've moved so many freaking times, and I know you guys don't want to hear that. I know you guys don't want to talk about that, but anyway, so yeah, what do you guys do for Halloween? Is anybody doing anything special for Halloween? I'm going to hand out candy. in my own house, which I've never done. I've never been in my own house, and I've never handed out candy on Halloween, so that's gonna be a totally new thing for me. I'm hoping to at least get, at least get a few people. I know most people do the trunk or treats now, but I'm hoping to at least get somebody just to say, like, just so I can at least say I handed out candy, on Halloween. So I've never done that. Never, like, well, I mean, technically I've done it, but not like it was always somebody else's house. I was always living with somebody, a parent or, somebody else. Man, nobody wants to talk. Everybody just keeps jumping in and then people just leave. And Mike Lozano is the only guy that wanted to talk to me. Man, that's all right. Oh no. I wasn't gonna probably go real late long anyway. I just want to talk a little bit. So I don't really want to talk politics, but I did vote today. I voted early. I've never done that before. Never done that before. So not that I really don't want to talk about politics, but just thought I'd mention that. Anyway, there's gotta be somebody else. I know there's somebody else in here other than Mike. I think Mike left. There's two people. There's two people on here. I know you're here. I can see you. I can see it tells me how many people are watching. So feel don't don't, you don't even have to like talk to me. Just if you want to just like post something and say, hey, let's talk about this. Or why don't you talk about this? Or why don't you, tell me this or whatever. I'll do it. Whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm all yours. So yeah, I've got to I can't believe it's already Halloween in an hour and 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes. It's gonna be Halloween already. Man, this month flew by. Crazy. These last couple months have just flown, but especially this month. So I thought about streaming video games. Like I thought about doing. I probably should have streamed the Silent Hill 2 remake. I thought about doing that, but I don't know. I've tried doing the video game streams, and it never really gained any traction. I mean, let me know, guys. Let me know if anybody wants me to stream video games. If that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. I'm up for anything as long as it gets some kind of engagement or it's something you guys are interested in. I thought about streaming. Um, I might replay KOTOR, Knights of the Republic. I thought about streaming that at some point. I thought about that. Um, I'm playing through Dragon Age, Inquisition right now. I could stream that, I guess, if anybody's interested. Let me know. Um, but man, I think I know what's happening. I think what's happening is people are jumping in and then nobody's talking. Everybody's like, "What are we talking about?" But I was talking about um fantasy Dritz. I don't know. Enough talk about that. Or we can hear. I can show this. I did get this. Blade itself. If anybody wants to talk about that. I just read like the little prologue to it. So I should probably not that this is like super heavy, but I've heard very good things. Let me know. Anybody that wants to talk about Joe Abercrombie or just fantasy or anything, any kind of book, anything in general. Um, let's see here. I was actually at a book. I was at a half price books the other day. Um, I guess I could just show off some books I bought recently. Why don't I just do that? I don't know. Nobody's talking. So let's see. So well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just show off just for the heck of it. I'll show off my Dritz collection. So I've got, or I could do. How about Dragonlance? I could do Dragonlance, or I could do. I don't know. I'll just talk about some books I bought recently. Like here, I got. I've, if anybody's heard about this book, Magic of the Recluse, or The Magic of Recluse, I've heard very good things about this book. It has a quote from Robert Jordan from on the back of it. He recommended it. Oh, it's one of those books. I've seen this. Like I've seen this book like at probably dozens of bookstores. It just looks like a generic fantasy novel, but it's not. Like it's very like from what I've looked into it, it's like basically it's almost Wheel of Time levels of like intricacy and stuff. It looks very. It's the same. I think it's the same artist that did the Wheel of Time covers. So I think people thought it was like a Wheel of Time ripoff, and it's not. It's like totally different. It's self like each. It's a big long series, but what intrigued me with it is each one is self-contained. Like it's not like Wheel of Time or Mistborn or whatever. Like any big long fantasy thing where it's just a continuation. It's each book is self-contained, so you could just read this, and it's totally self-contained. That's kind of what I like about Feist, and to some extent, the Salvatore Drizzt books is they're pretty much self-contained. Like I'm assuming like every other Salvatore book, this is self-contained. Like you could just pick this up and just read this and get a self-contained story. Like it would help. It helps. It definitely helps to read prior stuff. It's like Tom Clancy. Tom Clancy's books are like that. They're self-contained, but it's like it's a continuation, but each individual book is self-contained. I don't know. I'm losing people, so I guess I won't talk about that. Hey, nobody wants to talk, huh? Nope, nobody wants to say anything. I just got Mike here to just thank you for the books, and that's it. Man, I'll talk about anything. I mean, if you want to talk about, you know, the stock exchange or something, I'll talk about that. Like, I don't really care. I'm just kind of bored. I'm just kind of wanting to talk. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. I haven't had a lot. Like I said, I've just been busy. I haven't really, like I said, the last book I finished was Sword Shannara. This old copy I picked up at a. I remember I picked this up at a thrift store. I think I never. It sat in a box for like 4 years, 4 or 5 years. I got this at like I think I had this at Goodwill for like 50 cents or something back when paperbacks at Goodwill like 50 cents. So it's an enjoyable book. Like it's enjoyable. Is it original? No. I mean, it's basically Lord of the Rings, but I never watched the show. Like I know they did a TV show that's not well regarded. Um, and I'd heard of it. I'd heard of Shannara, but it's pretty good. Like I mean, I like Salvatore and some other authors better, but you know, I don't know. It's enjoyable. It was well worth the 50 cents that I paid for it easily. So if you're looking for like Lord of the Rings, basically condensed, go for it. No, I don't know if I actually ever showed off my movie tie-in. I have the movie tie-in Lord of the Rings books, which are not quite hard to find, but I don't see them as much as I used to. Like I've got and this is my original copy. My mom bought me this with the nice gold. Nice shiny gold and silver there. Movies. These are the movie tie-ins. Oh, really nice. Like I don't think I even broke the spine. I think maybe a little bit on that one. If I got two towers here. Yep. So I have nice hardcovers of these, but these are just my readers. Turn of the King. Well, oh man, because I've shown off my Star Wars books a bunch of times. I think this is even technically the tie-in. This is before the that's the one that came out before the movie. Pretty sure this is when the movie this is around the same time. They had a box set that had all these, had this, and then the movie tie-ins all together. Um, anyway, man. Well, nobody. I'm getting the people that don't want to talk today. Tonight's the one, man. Unless there's like a glitch or something. Somebody's gotta talk. Come on, somebody just you don't have to like directly talk to me. If you just want to put something out there, like, hey, want to talk about this? Want to talk about that? It's all good. You just keep rambling. If you'd rather just listen to me ramble, I can do that. It's gonna be Halloween in an hour. Oh man. So, oh man. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to talk about because nobody. Give me a direction, somebody. We can talk about Star Wars. I mean, I don't. It's whatever. I don't care. Oh man. God. Now let's see. What else do I have? I don't have a lot of Sonic books, sadly. Um, I mean, I don't know. Anything I've gotten recently, I've curbed my book shopping a lot. I'm getting way too many books, so I only buy stuff now if I really know I'm gonna read it. I used to just randomly buy, whatever, if it just even remotely interested me, but now I'm much more choosy now. Uh, anyway, it was 41 minutes, 41 minutes, and I literally just had Mike come in and say, "Hello, thanks for the uploads," and then that's it. Man, it's okay. It's alright. I understand. Sometimes you don't want to say anything, but you don't have to even like directly talk to me. If you just want to put out something like, just put it out in the ether. Just be like, "Hey, this is interesting to me," or "This is something that," because I think I'm not getting any momentum because nobody's saying anything. So people come in and then they figure out I'm not really talking about anything, and then they leave. Man. Anyway, um, I don't know. I don't have much new. I'm sorry. I know this is like kind of a not boring, but it's like I don't have any. I was kind of hoping like you guys would be like, hey, let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about you know Halloween related stuff. I was hoping to talk about Halloween, something Halloween related, or something something. Um, I mean, I guess I could just talk about the Silent Hill remake and how I don't think it's as good as the original. I can talk about that, I guess. Um, I liked it. I definitely liked it. Um, but it felt padded. Like it felt really, especially the not so much the first chunk of it, the first half of it, but like the second half of the game felt really padded, which I did not like. Like I shouldn't say that, but like it they drew it out too much. It was too padded. There was just too much padding. Like just there was lots of, especially that the hotel at the end. There's way too much like it was just way too much padding, and they cut a few things. Like I can see why there's a couple things that they cut. I can see why they cut them, but for the most part, I mean, for the most part, it was good. Like it's a good game. It's definitely worth playing. If you haven't played the original, I get why people are probably turned off by the original because it's fixed camera angles. It's like old style horror. But I would still probably recommend the original. I'd recommend playing the original first, then playing the remake. But yeah, I get it. Like I get a lot of people don't like old style games, so you'll get the experience. So yeah, you can play it. You can definitely play the remake and basically get the story out of it and get the same basic stuff out of it. But I would definitely recommend the original over it. But they're both good. They're both like it's like I don't know. It's a good remake. It is a good remake, but I don't know. Just not as good. It's like an 8. It's like an 8 out of 10, and I would say the original is like a 10 out of 10. It's about as close as you're gonna get to perfection for a horror game, in my opinion. And the remake's probably like a low 8, probably. It's good. It's definitely good. Like it's above average for a modern game, especially for a modern game. It's well above average. But I wouldn't say it's the original is like a masterpiece to me. It's pretty much almost perfect. So that's only I haven't really done. Like normally I play a lot of horror games and like you know, it's the only one I played. I only played Silent Hill 2, the Silent Hill 2 remake. I started playing the Dead Space remake, but it's the same game. Like it's I guess I shouldn't complain because it's that one was too similar. Like it's literally just the original game with a new coat of paint. It's the same exact game with just updated graphics. That's it. Like at least the Silent Hill 2 remake, they kind of did things something a little different with it. They tried to. I wonder if our comments not getting through. Let me try posting something. I'm wondering if because I'm getting there's 7 people in here and nobody's commenting on anything. So I'm wondering if there's a problem, like if things are not getting through. Is that the problem? Okay, I just posted something. Okay. So I've just been talking about video games, like horror video games I've been playing lately. Silent Hill 2 is it this year for me. I'm not, the older I'm getting, I'm not as into horror. Like the older I'm getting, I guess I'm getting old. Like, trust me, I love horror. I still love it. But I watched Monster House the other day, and I think I got more enjoyment out of that. Like, and that's a kids movie. Like, I think I get more enjoyment out of that now. Like, just like I don't know, like the non-gory stuff. I think I get more enjoyment out of that. But anyway, what horror movies have you guys watched? I know you guys are there. Come on, somebody tell me a horror movie you watch. I know somebody out there has watched a horror movie or horror game, anything. Okay. Robert McPherson, thank you for all you've done. It is much appreciated. Of course, of course. We can talk about books. Like if you guys want to talk about, I've been trying to talk about books. Well, I can talk about anything. Books, movies, video games. I mean, we can talk current events. I try not to talk politics, but I prefer not to talk about politics. But current events, whatever, as long as it's not politics, because I try not to do that because people get upset. But other than that, I could talk about pretty much anything. So, okay. Did you enjoy Jedi Survivor? I have not played it yet. I played the one before that. That's the Star Wars, the EA Star Wars game, right? The Dark Souls like game, right? What was the one before that? What the heck was the name of it? I played the one before it. That's the new one, right? The one that just came out like or maybe like a year ago. I played the one before that. I don't remember the name of it. Robert, I'm sorry. You have to refresh my memory. I played the one before that, and I thought it was pretty good. I'm not big into like Dark Souls. Like I'm just not. I'm that's one like big modern like video game craze. I never got into it. Like I just was never. I was never big into Dark Souls, and I know it's like super popular. Yeah, Dark Souls to a very small degree. Yeah, it just reminded me of Dark Souls. It had that like that kind of combat. I'm just not big on it. Like I appreciate it. I can see why people like it. Like I can definitely see why people like that combat, that style of game, but I'm just not big into it. But I do remember it being a pretty good game. I remember it being pretty good. What is the name of it? What was the name of the one before Survivor? I can't remember. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'll just look it up. I can't remember. I really cannot for the life of me remember. Do. Fallen Order. Yeah, Fallen Order. That was it. Okay, yeah, you found it. Yeah, Fallen Order. I played Fallen Order, and I remember enjoying it for the most part. I think I enjoyed the story more than that. That's the only Disney Star Wars um video game I really enjoyed. Battlefront 2 was okay. I did play Battlefront 1 and 2, like the EA ones, the new ones. But I that was probably the best of the bunch. And I've heard I'll probably play Survivor at some point. I'm just not really in a rush. I've got so many other like things I want to do, books and to read and video games to play. At some point, I'll get to it. Probably when it's like super cheap on Steam. Because I did enjoy the story for the most part. Yeah, don't worry about it, Robert. Um, yeah, maybe I'll give Dark Souls another chance. I just never. I tried getting into it a couple different times and I just never did. So it's the combat. That's the only thing. That's the only problem I had was the combat. I liked everything else. Like I liked the style of it, like the story was really cool and like all of it. I liked everything else around it, just the combat. Like the specifically the combat. Even the rest of the gameplay is fine. Like I like the RPG elements and everything else. It's the combat. I'm listening to your new Jedi Order books now. Awesome. Yeah, they're great books. I highly recommend. I recommend make sure you get some of the Phantom stuff beforehand, but you don't have to. I mean, you can jump right in the NJO. I recommend you at least probably listen to the X-Wing books first if you haven't. I recommend it, but you don't have to. Just so you know who like some of the important people are that aren't in the movies, like Corran Horn and a couple other people. But um, yeah, dude, NJO is great. NJO is my favorite part of the EU. I think I've said that on the channel. I talked about that. But NJO is like the peak. It's the peak of the expanded universe, in my opinion. And there's other peaks, like there's other like things that come close, but like NJO is like the top of the mountain for me. That's when it absolutely peaked and like basically hit on pretty much perfection. Yeah, for sure, man. I've been trying to go in chronological order. Yeah, I recommend that. Or release order, either one. I am a publication order guy myself. When I read through anything, I always do publication order. Like 99% of the time, I do publication order because it's to me it's like especially if it's a one author series for sure. Like I said, like I'm reading through the Dritz books right now. I'm reading through them in release order. Or yeah, in sorry, yeah, release publication because to me it's like okay, this is Dritz out, and I can see the argument people make because people say read the some people say read the prequel series first, but I kind of I like I'm not big on doing prequels first. Like to me, it's like I like just being thrown into the universe and then okay, then go back and go okay, this is how this happened. This is how this happened. I like that. I like when things kind of line up. Like same with the Star Wars prequels. I if I'm watching the Star Wars movies, I watch the originals first. Then I watch the prequels because the prequels are, you know, and you can do it either way. They're both, it's like ice cream. It's all good, but I prefer like, okay, this is the universe, and then you go back and okay, this is how this happened. This explains this. Like I kind of like those little, those little Easter eggs or little tidbits you get from when you watch the prequel after, like in the order it was released. So I prefer it personally. But chronological is fine, absolutely fine too. Most things I think are designed now, like pretty much most media is designed. You can, you know, consume it chronologically or publication. But That's absolutely fine, Robert. If you want to do chronological, I'm a publication guy. That's just me. It's just personal preference. That's all. Star Wars books, you can pretty much like you can. It's probably the only franchise you can read in chronological, and it's totally like it just is. It's almost. I mean, it's pretty much seamless. It's seamless, but you don't get the little Easter eggs that you'll get doing publication order. I'll do that with movies too. I watch the originals, prequels, then sequels. Yeah, I prefer like release order for most things. Like 99% of things. Because I just feel like that's the purest. Like I guess I'm a purist. I guess that's the word people will use. I'm kind of I'm that guy. I'm the purist. Like I have to see it in the original way you're able to see it. Like I mean, I'm not gonna like hunt down laser discs or like things like that, but I just prefer to consume it in the original order it was intended. So because it generally makes more sense that way. Most media, when you do it that way, it usually makes more sense normally. Um, and I'm trying to decide what to do with, and I'm glad you brought this up because I've been trying to decide what to do with the series I'm reading right now. Like I know I keep bringing it up, but the Driss books because there is a the book the series I'm reading through right now was originally four books, and then it later got split up into a trilogy, and then the fourth book was pushed off into its own separate trilogy that was the other two books came out way later. So I'm trying to decide what to do with that. If I just want to read it, I'm probably just going to read it like I normally and just do, like I said, just do release. I just feel weird reading things like not in release order, but that was like the one thing because it would be one of the few exceptions I might make because I think the trilogy, that one book that's part of it is meant to be read as part of this other separate trilogy because it's about a separate character. Um, so I might do it. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do yet. I'm strongly considering just separating that out because I'm missing one of the books from that trilogy. Oh, okay, Robert has a recommendation here. Stick with what you're used to doing, I would say. Okay, well, maybe I will then. I will take your advice, Robert, and stick with it. And just man, maybe I'll order that book tonight. I'll order that other book tonight, and then I'll have it when I get to it down the road. So, okay, maybe I'll do that, Robert. I will take your advice because you're very friendly and you're the only person talking to me. So I will take your advice. So yeah, I don't know. It irks me to like I'm weird that way. It irks me to read things. I can't hardly read or watch things out of order anymore. I'm getting more OC. I used to not care about that. Like I would just pick up random books and like well, I mean I shouldn't say that, but I was more willing to just jump in the middle of something. I hardly cannot do that anymore. If I'm out somewhere in like a thrift store or whatever, like it has to be book one. Like unless it's something I know I'm gonna collect or whatever, I will not just grab like book three of whatever. Like this is book three, and I know most things are designed so you can jump in, but I can't do it. Like my OCD takes over, I guess. Ha, sounds good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hey, you get you get you get special treatment because you're talking to me. So I will take your advice. Anyway, um, let's see. Yeah, you know what? I've gotten this far. I might as well. This is book 11. I think this is book 11. So I've read 11 books in order. I might as well just continue on, right? So I don't know. It's crazy to me to think that there's people. that saw the prequels before the originals to like Star Wars. Because I'm sure there's people out there that have done that. That like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't again, I don't care what people do or whatever, but it's just funny to me to think that I'm old, so to me that's like how's that possible? But like, yeah, I guess if you're like in the hell, heck, we're probably getting to the point where there's people that have probably seen the sequels before the originals or the prequels, for that matter. I think, honestly, I think I didn't watch. I obviously I did watch originals before the prequels, but it wasn't like I mean I saw the originals right before the prequels were coming out, so it wasn't like a huge gap like most people, even people my age. Most people saw the originals when they were little kids. I didn't see the original Star Wars movies until I was like 9, 8, 8 or 9. So that's old, but not really exactly like really young either. It's crazy people have watched the prequels as the first Star Wars watch. Yeah, I'm sure it's happened. Like I'm sure it's definitely happened to many people. I mean, in a way, it is for me because in the theaters, I never saw any of the originals in theaters, and a lot of people haven't. Even the special editions, I never saw the special editions. I never saw because I know they did that right before they did the special editions right before the prequels came out. They were part of the prequel hype. Um, But I've never seen it even later, like, I know people have shown them down the road, like, people still show them or whatever. I've never seen any of the originals on a big screen, like, on in a theater ever. I've only seen the prequels, never seen the originals ever. So, but again, that's not, like, that odd, but there was a theater playing the original trilogy, like, when I was in college, and I don't know why I didn't go to it. I think I was kind of in a Star Wars, like I was in, like, a Star Wars burnout phase. I think like in this was probably like 2011. This was right before the buyout. Right before the buyout. I will admit I was part of that. Like I was not like I think it was Force Unleashed 2. Like I was really disappointed by Force Unleashed 2. Like it wasn't horrible or anything, like but I remember playing that and like I kind of was like, yeah, I don't know, I think I'm kind of done with Star Wars for a while because it really disappointed me. The first game was so good, and then the second was just kind of like and like it wasn't terrible, but it was just like it left a bad taste in my mouth, I guess. I played when I finished that, I was kind of like, like we hadn't had a really good Star Wars game in a while either. That was part of the problem. I mean, KOTOR was like, you know, almost 6, 7, 8, years in the past. Force Unleashed 1 was good. It was a little overhyped, but it was good. And then Force Unleashed 2 was just not that good. So I was just not I was very disappointed in that game, and I think just it kind of like I know I'm repeating myself, it just left a bad taste in my mouth for Star Wars stuff. I've seen the originals on VHS as a kid and then seen the prequels in theaters, yeah. That was like me. So you're probably about my age, I would assume. Yeah, Force Unleashed 2 was a letdown. Yeah, it was such a letdown, man. Like, it was so I was pretty hyped for that game. Like, I was probably one of the few people who was pretty hyped for that game because I really enjoyed the first one. Well, it had flaws. The first game had problems, but the story for that was so good. And it was just like I was. It was there was the game itself could have been a little better, but like the story was just awesome. Like that, it was the first thing we finally got. We got something in between Revenge of the Sith and um, A New Hope. That was basically unexplored territory for the most part. But yeah, 2 just dropped it was so short. I remember beating that game. I beat that game in, like, I think 2 settings. Like, might have been 1. I might have beat that game in 1 setting. I'm trying to remember. It was no more than 2 settings. I remember I think it was 2. I think it was 1 long setting and then a second, like, short setting, and I remember the game I could kinda tell the game was winding up, and I'm like, "This is it." It was like 4 like 3 hours long, 4 hours long, maybe, maybe. Like it was so clear it got rushed out the door. Like it was not finished. Like they basically just quit where they were and they just like shipped the game out. It was so clearly unfinished. Like it wasn't like it was buggy or anything like that, but like I could just tell they just quit. Like they just stopped. Like I'm wondering. I have a really strong feeling that I think they knew the buyout was coming because that was 2011, right? 2010, maybe late 2010. And then I think George was starting to think about he was talking about the buyout. I think he started talking to people in 2011. So I'm wondering if like somebody was like, "Yeah, we're gonna, just get this out the door," and I don't know. There's a story there, and I'm surprised. There's probably something about it I'm missing, but um, yeah, no, I just remember like beating it in like one or two settings and being like, "What the hell?" Like it was so short. Like it was half, not the Force Unleashed one is even that. I mean, it's decent length, but like I think the first one's what, maybe 10 hours, which is pretty good for an action game. It's a pretty good length for an action game. Like at least to me, like any game, I mean, even an action game, it needs to be at least like 6 or 7 hours, like at least, like minimum. Like and Force Unleashed 2 is like 3, maybe 4, like maybe if you stretch it out, maybe. I mean, I didn't think I even rushed through the game. Like I think I was kind of taking my time, and I just remember like, God dang, it was short. If you're anything more on the Coach War remake, yeah, isn't it like in limbo right now? It's like basically stalled. It's like basically in limbo right now. I think like didn't it like it almost got canceled, and they're like, did they like reboot it or something? Like they basically like I think they're starting over or something. Like it's pretty much like it's just in limbo. I think it might get canceled. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm gonna play it. I'll probably play it, even though I'm not big on Disney Star Wars, but um, I'll probably just play it anyway just to see what it's like. But I think it's in limbo, Robert. It might not even come out. I'm not sure what's going on with it. Last I heard, it was basically just like they just froze development of it, and they're just trying to figure out what to do. And I'm like 99% sure it's been they like they I think they've scrapped it. I think that's what I'm pretty sure that's what's going on is they've scrapped it and they're starting over or something. I have a feeling because it was announced like wasn't it announced like 4 or 5 years ago? Like it's been in development for I think at least like half a decade at least. So as far as I know, I mean I'll look real quick here, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty much like in limbo right now. Let's see. Is current nervous something? Yeah, it's still in development. As far as I understand, I think they're just like trying to figure out, I guess, how to get it out the door. But anyway, I remember thinking Force Unleashed 2 is unfinished when I beat it. Yeah, that's that's pretty much how I felt. It was a disappointment. It was a bad man. It was such a sour note for like LucasArts to go out on because they were shuttered. They went under what 2 years later, a year. Like I mean, Force Unleashed 2 was 2010, right? 2010 or 2011, and LucasArts went under, when Disney bought it. So it was like that was like their kind of their last big game. I mean, I know they had like stupid stuff like the Star Wars Connect and like they had a couple other things come out, but that was such a sour note, like such a sad like ending for an amazing studio. I remember being so disappointed when so upset when LucasArts. I'm actually honestly I think I was more upset about that at the time than the EU being wiped. I was mad about both. I was upset about both, but I was more upset. I think at the time I was more upset about LucasArts being shuttered because I had so many great memories. Like they put out so many good games, but I mean I know they weren't what they used to be, but even at the time, but it's sad. It was a sad day. It was a sad time for Star Wars fans there. The early 2010s were not. Not a good time to be Star Wars fan. Yeah, it was announced like 4 years ago. Yeah, I think at least that long, and it was rumored even before that. Like, I think I remember hearing stuff about it, I think in like 2019, 2020. Yeah, that sounds about right. So like about 4 or 5 years. That's not good. Games take forever now. And honestly, that's part of kind of what pushed me out of video games, like not being I still trust me, I still love video games. I love them. Love them to death. But I just video games just take forever now. Oh my God. They take forever to get out the door now. And I know understand budgets and there's way more to making a video game now than even, 10 years ago, but um I just God, it takes forever. It just takes forever to get a video game out the door now. And there's things get canceled so often. Things get rebooted. Everything's getting remakes. Everything's getting. It's just there's just so much. Just I don't know. It's excuse me. Sorry. It's just kind of got me back. Part of why I got back into books is God, I just get tired of delays. I'm like, I think the last what the straw that broke the camel's back for me was probably Starfield. I remember being like super hyped for that, and it got delayed like a year, like or maybe two, like at least a year. It was supposed to come out, I think, in 2022, 2021 or 2022, and they delayed it till 20, like a whole. They delayed it like a whole year. I think it's supposed to come out at the end of 2022, and they pushed it back to the end of 2023. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm done. Like I'm not getting hyped, like waiting for video games anymore. Is there? And the game ended up being okay. Like it was not quite. It wasn't as good as I was expecting. Um. Oh yeah, you kind of agree with me. Man, Starfield was such a disappointment. Well, I have mixed feelings on it. Like, yeah, it's oh yeah, it's definitely a disappointment. Like it definitely is. Um, like it is. It is. It kind of is sort of growing on me a little bit. Like I have a little bit softer opinions on it now that I've kind of played it a little more. But yeah, no, yeah, no, Starfield was a disappointment. The idea of the game was better than the game. Like just being able to explore and that part of it, I'll grant them they did that part extremely well. Just being able to fly around space and do that kind of stuff, but like the actual game itself is boring as hell. It is. Yeah, yeah, you're kind of saying what I'm saying. Like, I want that game to be good, but it's just not happening. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, it's like it's one of those games, like, you want it to be good. Like, I remember, like, playing it and just thinking, like, "This should be so much more exciting than it is." Like, I should be having way more fun. And it does get better, like, it's one of those games you have to play for, like, dozens of hours. Like, I remember the first, like, 20 hours is really boring. It's one of those games, and I know that this is a cliche and all that, and people say this all the time, but it is one of those games that gets better, like, after, like, 20, 30 hours. It does. It gets better. It gets better way, way later on, but by then, you're already, like, you're bored, and you're kinda just wanting it to end, so like, it's just God, everything built around it is so cool, though, like, just being able to fly, build your own ship and fly through space, like, that is so cool. That's really cool. But then, like, the actual game itself is boring. Like, I've never played a game that's simultaneously, like, so cool and so boring at the same time. That's what it is. It's got all this cool stuff wrapped around it, like the shipbuilding, all the cool flying in space, building a ship, just being able to go wherever you want. Cool, cool, all this cool stuff, but then the actual game is just boring, just walking through hallways and talking to people. That when it hit me, like, I was about I don't know, I think I was about, like I don't even know, I wasn't even that far into the game, like, 10 hours into the game, and I realized, like, yeah, this game's boring. This game is just really boring, like, it hit me, like, all I'm doing is walking through hallways. This whole game is me just walking through hallways and talking to people. It's the worst parts of, like, Fallout and in, Elder Scrolls, just concentrated. That's the problem. It's the worst things about Elder Scrolls in Fallout, just condensed down into because it's just hallways because you can't. I understand you can't walk through space. That's what it balances out in Fallout and Elder Scrolls because you can walk to it's not boring. Like you can walk to the next city you want to get to, and you'll run into like run into like goblins, or you'll find a cave. You walk into a cave. Oh, there's a cave. You can go in there. It's like, and I get they were trying to take that idea and put it into space. Like, oh, where's the planet? Like, oh, there's this planet you can go into, but it's like, then you go into the planet and there's nothing on the planet. Like, it's just boring and it looks exactly the same as every other planet you've been on. Like, and I get like you can make an argument about the dungeons, but the dungeons don't take that long. Like, you can just walk into a cave and it takes like 5 minutes to walk through the cave, and then you just get out and you move on. That's the Starfield. You got to go to the planet. You got to whatever. You had to warp to the planet or whatever. You had to watch a cutscene to do that. Then you got to watch a cutscene to land. And I know you can skip some of the stuff, but it's still boring. It's either that or you're watching a loading screen. You watch a loading screen or a cutscene, and then it's like it's the same thing. You walk around like a rock on a rock, and then you talk to the same people in like the same little like prefab structure thing. It's just the same thing. There wasn't enough like flavor. Like at least in same thing with Fallout. Like at least in Fallout, there was different. There was a town where they worshipped a nuclear bomb that didn't go off. That was cool. That's some weird thing that's cool. And there's another town that's like it's just a giant hotel. There's another town that's you know um where everybody's kids. It's all kids. There's no adults. Like it's at least there's some flavor to it. It's not just you walking on a generic planet where pretty much everybody's the same and pretty much everything's the same. They had a couple planets that were a little different, but like for the most part, it's just all the same. Yeah, like kind of what you were saying. Carbon copies. Yeah, bland. Pretty much. It just didn't have that. It was just yeah. It didn't have that extra little like that zing, that zest that Fallout and even Elder Scrolls. Like people say what you want about Elder Scrolls. And everybody complains. I don't know if people say anymore, but the complaint I used to hear about Elder Scrolls is like, "Oh, it's just generic fantasy, man. It's just like it's just like Tolkien, Lord of the Rings. It's boring, generic fantasy." It's like I don't, Lord of the Rings didn't have giant portal things that demons came out of. That's now Feist does that. They got that from Rift War, Feist, but that's not Lord of the Rings. That's a totally different thing. Which, yeah, you can say they borrowed from a different book series, but at least it was something else. It was something other than it wasn't just generic like Lord of the Rings fantasy. Yeah, there's elves and dwarves and things, but at least there's more to it. Like it's not just like there's different cities. There's elf cities, then there's human cities, then there's different things. There's more to it than just generic. Like not every city in Elder Scrolls is exactly the same. I never got that argument with Elder Scrolls. I mean, maybe you can maybe make that argument with Oblivion, maybe a little bit, but I don't know. So, but yeah, I was pretty disappointed with Starfield. I'm with you there, Robert. It's one of those things where just like it was all there. Like it had all the pieces were there, but they don't gel. They don't coalesce into a good product. You know, trying to think of like another good example of that. A lot of games have felt like that lately. A lot of games have felt like that. I've been playing. What was a game I played that was kind of felt like that. Like I don't know, Dead Island 2. Like it's all part of it's I think I'm just tired of zombies, but um like it all the stuff there's so much there's cool stuff in it. There's cool stuff. Like you can build stuff and yeah, I know that's been in a million games, but you can build weapons, which you could do in the first game. It's kind of tropical looking, which is cool. And there's different types of zombies, which is somewhat cool, but it just didn't come together. Like it just didn't feel like it felt like they were trying to do a bunch of different things. And people made that argument about the first game, like because I know the first game they were trying to market it as like a horror game, and then it came out and it was like goofy, like horror comedy. So I get the argument on that, but it was like, I don't know. The first game at least kind of knew what it was trying to do. I feel like the second game wasn't really because there were parts that were serious and there was parts that were, goofy. Like the first game was pretty much all goofy. There weren't really any serious moments. The second game, the tone was all over the place. It did not mesh well for me. It's not a horrible game, but just generic. Just I don't know. Part of it's that probably I'm tired of zombies. I think I'm bored of zombies. That's part of it. But anyway, Robert, I appreciate you a lot because you gave me some things to talk about. Did you finish Starfield or not? I did end up finishing it. I finished it um before I moved. Right before I moved, I finished it. And like I said, it gets better. If you've played some of it, like if you're bored or whatever, I'd recommend finishing it because it is worth finishing. Like it's not a terrible game or anything. It's not. It gets better as it goes along. It gets better towards the end. Um, so if you're bored and you have nothing else to do, okay, you didn't finish it. Okay. I mean, like I said, you're not gonna like. It's not like you're gonna miss anything huge if you don't finish it. But um, like, let me say that. I'll say this: like, if you actually get through the game and you actually finish it, it ends up being like a 7. It goes from being like probably like a 2 or a 3 to like a 7 if you finish it because it does get better. There's some cool stuff at the end, near the end of it. Um, maybe like if I'm being generous on a good day, like a low 8, like a very low 8. So, and I know they've added like you can build cars and like they're adding stuff to it. They are doing stuff with it. So I'm sure if there's way more, there's more stuff in it, and they're gonna keep adding to it. So, oh yeah, it does. Oh really? It does. I know it's hard to believe, but it does get better. It's one of those, it's one of those games that gets better as it goes along. Like it gets better. I don't know how much you put into it, but yeah, the first like 15 to 20 hours are pretty boring. And then it starts to pick up about like 25 hours in, and then like the last like chunk of it is pretty good. But I'm a Bethesda guy. I always like their games. I'm a little bit biased, because I'm Elder Scrolls. I'm a big Elder Scrolls guy. I will admit I'm much more excited for that. I was semi excited for Starfield, but like Elder Scrolls, even Fallout. I like Fallout, but Elder Scrolls is like up here for me. Then probably Fallout, and then everything else they do. So I haven't given up hope on them. I'll play Elder Scrolls 6. I'm gonna play it. Right, 6, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6. Elder Scrolls 6. I'm gonna play it regardless. Okay, yeah, you're like me then. Yeah, yeah, that's their best series. Sorry, I like Fallout, but Elder Scrolls is top tier. They're totally to me they're uncontested on like first person RPGs. Nobody else comes close. Like big open world RPGs. They're the best at that. Still, Skyrim was surprisingly the first I ever played. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Skyrim's good. I like all of them personally. Even I like the old ones, the new ones. I like all of them. I play Morrowind. It was first for me. Yeah. technically, yeah, Morrowind. So I played Morrowind, then Oblivion when that came out, then Skyrim that when that came out. So my fiance, my current fiance actually, say current fiance, whatever. My fiance um actually bought that for me, Skyrim, because we had just started dating at the time. We were just dating when that came out. So yep, she got that for me for Christmas, I think that year. It was the following year because it came out 2011, right? I think she got it for me the following, or 2012. She got it for me the following year. So Skyrim's probably the best overall, like at least in terms of like gameplay. Probably. I have a soft spot for Oblivion, though. I know that's considered like probably the weakest one, but I have a soft spot of like the newer ones. But I think you're it, Robert. I think you're the only person left. No. What do you play? What kind of character do you play in Skyrim? I usually do archers. I either do warriors or rogues, like archers. I usually do archers actually now when I play games, like um RPGs. I think Skyrim actually. I probably was the one I replayed the most. I've only replayed Oblivion all the way through twice. I've only played Oblivion all the way through twice. I think I've played Skyrim through. I played it the original version, the remaster or whatever, the special edition or whatever, and then the most recent one I replayed it again. So I've replayed that one 3 times. And I've only played Morrowind all the way through once. So Skyrim's probably like in terms of the amount of hours, that's probably the one I've dumped the most hours into. So anyway, I don't know if you're here, Robert. You might have left. I'll probably end this here at midnight, so it'll technically be. I'll wait till like a minute after midnight, so it's technically officially Halloween, I guess. So this can like officially technically be Halloween related stream. I know. Well, East Coast. It's been Halloween on the East Coast for an hour now, right? So, Joey, Robert. I think Robert left. I think I don't know. Ooh, it's Zachary. Hey Zachary, what's up? I haven't seen you. I haven't talked to you in a while. You haven't been on here in a while, have you? Rip to Rob. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Robert. We were having a good conversation about Elder Scrolls, like or Bethesda stuff. What's your picture? Trying to figure out. Look at that guy's face like melting or something. Huh. No, I don't know. What have you been up to? Just trying to talk about. Just finished the Silent Hill 2 remake last night. I don't know if you're into into horror games. Sorry for not being here more often. College has been a real pain in the butt, so it's been taking up a lot of my time. Well, yeah, no problem. You don't have to be sorry for anything. Yeah, college is a big responsibility, so I hear you. That was me. That was me in my college years, yeah. I basically just went to class, came home, ate, and slept. That was about all I did for, like, 3 years, so I know exactly how you feel. I actually, went back to my old college to vote today. That was an interesting blast from the past. I haven't been up there in, like, a decade, I went up there to vote today, so I kinda got to sorta relive my college days a little bit. So anyway, yeah, you probably haven't had time to play video games or anything, have you, Zach? Do anything else? Oh man, yeah. I remember I would just like burn through, like on my days off when I didn't have class, I would just burn through. I would just sit and just play a game for like 6 hours straight. I can't do that anymore. I can't. I'm lucky if I can play for like 2 hours now, much less six. I've never played Silent Hill. I've heard a lot of good things though. Oh, I highly recommend it if you're into horror or just good video game storytelling, or just good video games. Period. I highly recommend um, Silent Hill. You can if you're scared off by like old style games, you can play the remake. They just came out with a remake of two, and I recommend it. It's not as good as the original, but it's good. It's definitely good and worth your time. No, like 90% of my time has been sleeping and doing homework. Yeah, pretty much. That's yep. You do homework, sleep, go to class. That was pretty much my life. I know how that goes. I remember it well. But yeah, I haven't. I've been busy myself. I've been busy with work, so things have been picking up for me because we're getting near the holiday season here. So, and you know, I don't know. I don't know if I've talked about my job much on here, but I do online retail. So this is the next like couple months for me are pretty nuts, and it's already I can tell it's starting to kind of ramp up. So, but seen any good horror movies, Zach? I've watched a few. You dressing up this year? I thought about it. I thought about it. I don't know if I have. Oh, you know what? I do have. Ooh, I do have a Star Wars costume. I do have a Star Wars costume. I might put it on. You gave me an idea, Zach. I'll do something. I'll do a skit. I might not do like. I'm probably not gonna do like a big long stream or something. I might do a little skit or something. I have an idea now, actually, because I do have a costume, a Star Wars costume that I'm sitting on. So yeah, I'll do a skit. I'm at least gonna do like a little skit or something. Unless you're talking about like, or you just mean in general, or you mean like put it on right now? I'm tempted. Yeah, I'm tempted because you're probably worried I'm not gonna do it tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about doing doing like a little skit or something. I'm trying to think. I would put it on now, but I don't know if it fits. Like I know the mask will fit. I don't know if like the rest of it'll fit. Oh man. Is it Leia's slave outfit? No, thank God. No, it's not. It is no, don't worry, it's not. It's a Star Wars character though. I'm tempted. I'm tempted. Yeah, no, I'll do something. I'll do a little skit or something and like just upload it tomorrow or something. I think I'd rather like do something like scripted, like or something. I haven't watched it. Okay, yeah, I'll do something. Don't worry. Yeah, I've been wanting to do something for Halloween for a while. I gotta make sure it fits. I gotta make sure it like looks halfway decent before I like go through with it. So I think I hope it's an adult costume. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's an adult costume. Do it. Do it. Yeah, I will. Don't worry. I need to do Emperor, the Emperor. That's one I can easily do because you just all I need is a black robe, like a black sheet, and I can do the voice. I'll do that. I'll do that one of these years. It's not the Emperor. I'll tell you that. Yeah, maybe we'll just get a black sheet. I don't know. I haven't decided. I'm either gonna I'll get a black sheet or I'll do this other character. If the costume doesn't fit, I'll get a black robe or a black sheet or something. That's easy. That's like really easy. I have to shave my beard though. That's the only thing for the Emperor. I have to shave and take off glasses or something. I get contacts or something. I'll do something. Don't worry. When was the last time you had the costume on? I never actually put it on. I got it at a thrift store like years and years ago, and I just saved it just because it's a Star Wars. It's from the prequels. I'll tell you that. I'll say that much. It's from the prequels. It's a prequel, like it's like an original prequel Halloween costume when the prequels came out. I just bought it as like a collector, just to collect it, just to have it. That's why I never put it on, so I have no idea if it fits. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe I'll put it on in two. I might put it on in 2 minutes because it'll be officially Halloween for me at least. I'll check. I'll check real quick and make sure it's an adult costume. At least put like the top half of it on. So I mean, you don't need to see, I guess, the bottom half. Well, okay, and it fits. I guess I'll put the bottom half on. The top half's gonna fit a lot easier than the bottom half. I can tell you that much. Not that I'm like oddly shaped or anything, but I have a feeling the top half's gonna be a lot looser for some reason. Hang on. All right. Okay. Hang on a second. Maybe I'll just go look at it real quick and see what it is. I'll be right back. Dude, yeah, right now. The soup part doesn't fit. I got that Django Fett voice thing. I have to do that. I think it's a child's costume actually, because it doesn't. You can see the top of my head. My head's too big. I don't even know if you're even still here. I guess I could do a stream. If I stream tomorrow, I'll do it like this. Huh. I need to get contacts because I can't even see. I don't even know if I could do. I could try to do a Django Fett version, I guess. This is Django Fett. I don't know. I think you're talking. Yeah, I'm sorry, Zach. I can't see. I don't know if I can get my. If I can hide my hair. It actually looks good. Really? I'll have to rewatch the stream later because I can't. I can't see what I'm doing. I'm freaking blind without my glasses, and I know my glasses won't fit in this. Yeah, from what I can see, it actually doesn't look that bad. Could try to put my glasses on over it. Django Fett with glasses. Yeah, I wish the suit part fit. The suit doesn't fit. It's a child costume. It's a kid costume. It's not an adult costume. Sadly, I could try to alter it. I thought about trying to like alter it or something. Maybe I should start doing streams like this. Maybe I'll get more views. Oh man, I wish I could see. That's the only problem. I can't see. Django with glasses. It's crazy. I guess I could put them on underneath and see if you could see it. You're gonna probably see it though through the. Oh, maybe you wouldn't. Actually, it kind of looks like a visor. You can't even really see it. Kind of a long head. Why'd you buy a child's costume? This is like a collector thing. It was at a Goodwill. I was at a Goodwill. I think I bought this at least like 5 or 6 years ago. I was at a Goodwill and it was like $2 or something. And I'm like, yeah, I'm buying that. It's from the prequels. Here, I guess I can show you the suit, but it doesn't fit me. I'm way too tall. Yeah, you can't really see you can sort of see my glasses if you really look. It actually kind of makes it, honestly, it really makes it look better. It makes it look dark. Like, it makes it look more kind of like a visor or something. I'm gonna shave. If I shave, I got my beard sticking out. It's like Django if he didn't shave or like shave his head or shave his shave his beard. Okay, I will. I'll show. I can't. Like I said, I won't. I can't put it on, but I don't know. I can like hold it up. I guess I can like kind of hold it up for myself. I could just. You know what I could do? I guess I could just do this. You won't be able to tell from the waist. It's more the waist. It's not the. Oops. I could do that. Kind of like I could kind of like do this. And then it also kind of makes me look like I'm like a bodybuilder or something. I can just sit like this. But yeah, you can see it. And it's got everything. It's got the whole thing. Yeah. It's a kid costume. You tell? It's a kid costume. It doesn't fit. Yeah, it could be like, I'm Django Fit. Django Fit. Any gloves. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. The stream is something else. I'm trying to think of, man, I have that Django AI. What I need to do is get that Django AI thing going and just do a whole stream like this. Just be like, this is Django Fit. I can't do a Kiwi accent that well. This is some of the best Star Wars content I've ever seen. Yeah. Oh man. And maybe I'll do this tomorrow if I get some free time. God, this I probably look ridiculous. If I could just get my hair, I guess what I could do, I could gel my hair down here, actually. Or wait, maybe hang on. If I could get my hair, gel my hair down, at least all you'd have is the beard. It just look like bearded Django Fett. If I can get the hair gel down. Yeah, I know. She's gonna she's gonna laugh. Yeah. I can almost get away with this because you can't you're only seeing me from the chest up. You can't tell that the rest of the costume's not there. I mean, you can kind of tell, like, I mean, it's not. I can like, if I can get a little bit more, I can just kind of sit like this and just be like, "This is Django Fett, Boba, Boba. I got some Halloween candy." Yeah, not bad for $2, eh? For the helmet alone, honestly, the helmet's not that bad for like a kid's costume. I could what I need to do is get black, like get spray paint this so you can't see through it. And I'm gonna lie I'm not. I'm going to lie. You look stupid as fuck. Yeah, I'm not gonna say. I'm sure it looks stupid. I'm guessing you meant to say I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, it probably looks really stupid. But hey, that's what we do. You asked for it. Not bad, huh? Yeah. Looks stupid and amazing at the same time, huh? What's this? Is that busted? Wait, hang on. Oh, that's just the. Oh man. Yeah, it even says it on there. 2002. Yeah, it got a little cracked. I'll have to fix it. Ah. Well, it's officially Halloween. Try to do my best Django Fett version here. I get you can just do like an Australian accent because he's basically I know he's New Zealand from New Zealand, but what do you want me to say, Zach? I think you're the only one in the stream right now. You're lucky. You got a preview. I'll do something. I'll do a skit or something. I'll probably just do a little like this is Django Fett. Wishing you a happy Halloween. Stay safe out there. It's actually not too bad. What would Django say? I'm trying to think. What would he say? Keep an eye out for Jedi scum. I think I did that thing. I gotta think of something a little better than that. Hmm. What would he say? Let's see. I could say. I think you might. I don't know. Are you even here anymore? Probably. I'm talking to myself. Let's see. You got to do a different outro because he wouldn't say anything about the floors. So I'll say, "This is Django Fett, signing off for Hidden Gems. Make sure you stay safe out there and have a happy Halloween. Keep an eye out for that Jedi scum, and good night."